21st City of Monmouth Council meeting to order. If you'll please rise and join me in the pledge to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We could have a roll call for attendance, please.
Alderman Grant.
Present.
Alderman Bone. Alderman John.
Yes.
Alderman Connor.
Here.
Alderman Pinedo.
Here.
Alderman Ferry.
Here.
Alderman Bentley.
Here.
Roll call, please.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion for approval of the April 7th council meeting minutes as presented.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any amendments or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Grant.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Connor.
Yes.
Pinedo.
Yes.
Ferry.
Yes.
Bentley.
Pass.
Roll call, please.
Thank you. Next up is presentations or citizens' inquiries of the county to address council. We have no one to address council. Next item on your agenda is a consent agenda, and we have one item on the consent agenda, and that's approval of the bills.
Motion to pay the bills.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any items to be removed for further discussion or consideration? Hearing none, a roll call, please.
John.
Yes.
Connor.
Yes.
Pinedo.
Yes.
Ferry.
Yes.
Bentley.
Yes.
Grant.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Under committee of the whole, we have the Maple City Centerpiece Project to update. Sarah Walters. I don't see Sarah here this evening.
Perhaps, yeah, I know I did talk to her this afternoon and she did confirm. Could we perhaps move on the agenda and come back to that
Sure.
when she arrives? Thank you.
The next item, request to address current traffic. That gentleman was not able to be here this evening, so he was going to come in a later meeting. Next item is the Monmouth Fire Department March report. Chief Rexroth.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. For the month of March, we had 143 calls for service. That's 404 calls so far this year. A few highlights of our report for this month. Last month we did host an Instructor 1 training class out of our fire department. This was provided, instructed by instructors from the Illinois Fire Service Institute. Occasionally when we have a lot of firefighters on the department that need very similar training, we can call them and see if we're able to host a class at our own department. They provide the instructors. And actually this one was all grant funded, so even the tuition was free of charge. We were able to get 6 of our firefighters that training that they needed without even having to leave our station. So it was a great opportunity. We had 3 or 4 other firefighters from other departments come in and attend the class as well. So it's great to bring that training to us when it's needed. Engine 23, we received that back last month. We had some work done to it. We had the overhaul to the motor that was needed. I had that done. When we got it back, the only thing that happened, we had a little snafu with the turbo on the motor for the engine. And once we got that back to the mechanic, they replaced the turbo. Since then, it's been running great. So we're very happy to have that back on the lineup. And since we have 23 repaired and it's back running first out, gave us the opportunity to address a couple minor issues with engine 21. And that was just last week we had that done. We sent 21 off to have a few seals replaced on the water pump for the engine, and also have the pump repacked. And so great to get those things done. The container training prop we've been working on down at the side of the city garage. It's getting close to being done. Here in the past few months we had ductwork attached to one side of the training prop that allows us to burn in barrels below the ductwork and funnel smoke into the structure. Gives us a little more realism. We're doing the training down there. And then also we had handrails attached around the top of each container, so we can make it a little more versatile. We can use those the tops and the inside of the containers for our training. and add a little bit more realism and help us improve our skills. And then lastly, we are accepting applications right now in the fire department to create a new eligibility list. And the test is actually in June, but we thought it would be a good opportunity a couple months prior to do an informational meeting and a practice for the agility test for those who are applying, who might want to come and see what they need to work on or something like that before they actually come on test day to do it. And so we set that up for this past Saturday. We had 6 people come out, which was pretty good for us, and all very good applicants. I hope they follow through and put their applications in. We provided all kinds of information about our department, and then we took them out. They were actually able to climb the ladder that they're going to have to climb for the test and go through the whole agility test and ask questions and things like that. But very good group of guys, and we hope to get a lengthy list this time so it lasts the full 2 years it's supposed to, and we can use that to hire people. Does anybody have any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Next up, we have the Monmouth Police Department March report. Chief Schweitzer.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. For the month of March, we made 60 arrests. We issued 92 citations. The dispatch center handled 3,516 phone calls. MPD itself handled 1,250 calls. The dispatch center created 2,652 incidents. We handled 18 accidents, and the officers worked 18 grand hours. Incidents of note, MPD officers spent approximately 16 hours in court for various criminal and traffic cases. ALICE training was provided to the Warren County Head Start, and Administrator Steinbrecher and I took part in contract negotiations with the FOP. Staff training, MPD officers continued with their state mandated training that we do every month. MPD officers took part in active threat training, and I attended a hostage crisis negotiation certification phase 1 and 2. Equipment-related issues, several MPD squad cars were taken in for maintenance issues. And then something I'll start doing is looking forward on what we're preparing for in the coming months. And right now I got Christopher Salimi was hired as our newest officer at MPD, and he'll be headed to the Police Academy on May 3rd or May 4th up in Dixon at Sauk Valley Police Academy. And we'll start planning for Monmouth College commencement. The car show, we'll start planning for that, and we'll start planning for the Prime Beat Festival parade and activities. So, and I'll report, obviously, in the months to come on the status of those things. So, unless there's any questions, that's all I have.
Any questions? Thank you, Chief. Next up, we had an offer to sell the property at 924 South B Street.
Yes, I had received a letter from Edgar Velazquez, who lives at 923 South B Street, interested in purchasing city-owned lot where we had removed a trailer, home trailer, and it is now vacant. He did work through a council member who brought this to my attention, and we discussed a little bit on the cost of purchase, and subsequently the offer was made less than what I had suggested, but is being offered tonight for the city council's consideration. So.
I think he wants to incorporate this in his homestead. And
he owns a home next to this property. So.
Correct. Mr. Velasquez is present.
That would be me.
Present here.
You guys have any questions
If you
for me?
want to, would you like to address the council?
How long has it been vacant? Just out of curiosity.
Well, I moved there in 2018, and it's been vacant since.
Ever since you've been
Yeah,
there?
there was a trailer there. I kind of cleaned it up a little before they took it down.
I mean, I assume nobody else has ever inquired about purchasing it at this point?
No, there had been a previous inquiry from the same property owner 6-8 months ago, where I had suggested a higher price, but subsequently came back with a lower offer, so.
You plan to add this, so basically you're gonna stretch your property out to make it as one property, correct?
Yes.
So you plan on building on it then, a garage or
Yeah.
something?
Down the road, probably.
Okay.
I got a little one right now. I'll probably put a
Place that.
slide or playground or something. There is some poison ivy there too. I would like to clean it up a little more.
Council have any questions?
Is that a small lot then, if it had a trailer on
It's
it?
a 66 foot?
66-foot
Oh.
lot.
Standard.
Yeah.
Probably standard.
It's, I'm sorry, it's a 50 by 137.
It's not that wide.
50, 30, yeah. That's where a lot of those trailers seemed like they were on smaller.
Yeah, it's 50 by 137.
He's been maintaining it, and the city hasn't had to mow it or anything, he's been taking care of the property ever since the trailer was moved.
Yeah, 50-foot lot, it seems unlikely somebody's gonna build a home on a 50-foot wide lot.
And mobile homes aren't allowed anymore, Joe, right?
No,
Okay.
only in the R4,
Right.
mobile home parks.
So, I would entertain a motion for approval of the sale of the lot at the offered amount.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Markham, any legal consideration on our end?
No, I can prepare the deed if the council approves it.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Goff,
Yes.
Connor,
Yes.
Pinero,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Estes,
Yes.
Grant.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
City attorney will prepare the deed and then we'll be in touch for you to go forward with it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is approval of an engineering agreement for preliminary investigation of our combined sewer overflow long-term control plan phase 3, Brady.
Good evening, everyone. So the background on this is through the past few years, we're concurrent working with the city and local contractors, whoever's hired to complete the work, has been working to separate our combined sewers that we have in town. So a lot of places in town right now have wastewater flowing through them as well as stormwater. And that causes an issue for us because our plant is only able to process so much, and it ends up causing us combined sewer overflows, which we have a limit on that from Illinois EPA. So basically what this proposal aims to do is there's a transport pipe out of the old wastewater facility on East Jackson, and we believe that it may be undersized, and we believe that through doing a full survey, full camera, and preliminary design on this pipe, we can determine if this pipe will actually fix our issue and lower the amount of CSOs we have per year, thus putting us into compliance with the IEPA. So that's what this agreement would cover. The main goal is, of course, like with anything, we want to do the research first before we spend the money on construction. This will be the research to help us determine if this is the correct path forward to solving our combined sewer overflow issue.
I think they want to study the pipe and then also do some more flow studies.
Exactly. They'll do a full survey. We'll include a cameraing of the pipe, and then we will have our engineers complete a flow study to hopefully determine if upsizing this pipe, changing the elevations, to determine if the construction will actually fix our issue. So I can answer any questions if you guys have any.
I think the fee is $40,000 for the preliminary site investigation, investigate the pipe, do the flow studies, and do whatever we need to.
Yep, correct.
Okay.
So every time you guys are working on sewer, are you separating now? Like when you go and do new sewer lines that are actually combined, are we fixing them as we go?
For the most part, yes. Yes, I imagine there are some scenarios where we're unable to economically, but that's what a lot of these pushes have been towards. So to get in more depth into this, and maybe it's too technical, sometimes it can be a lot for me, but when we get into that transport pipe down there, we have some screw pumps after this transport pipe
And the thought is now anecdotally that transport pipe does not provide enough volume to get to those screw pumps. So the screw pumps are able to, let's say, pump 2 million gallons per day, and the transport pipe's only transporting, let's say, 1.7 million gallons per day. So we're thinking that this transport pipe may be the issue based on that evidence, and this study will help us concretely determine that.
Who's doing it? You said your engineers, is it through?
Through Word Current, yes. Yep.
So, and it's still costing us $40,000?
That's correct, because we'll have to hire a survey crew, we'll have to hire people to come out and camera the pipe, and then, of course, to pay the engineers to do like the flow study.
I would note that it's, the proposal originally was 45 and was able to have 5,000 reduced from it.
There's nothing in there that employees we have here can take care of to keep that cost down even more?
That's where that 5,000 came from, but a lot of this work has to be completed by a professional engineer with the licensure, and we don't have anybody on staff at City Hall that has that license.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion for approval of the engineering agreement for the preliminary investigation of our combined sewer long-term control plan phase 3.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, a roll call, please.
Dawn,
Yes.
Connor,
Yes.
Maniano,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Emery,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brady. Next up, we have approval of the fire department, a new sign, I believe, for the North Station. I believe we have some grant funding for that.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. What we have is for your consideration is an approval of a sign, the purchase of a sign. It's the sign and the installation of that sign at the North Fire Station. If you remember a while back, we got some grant funding through the FEMA Fire Prevention and Safety Grant, and we're able to use that grant funding to purchase a new fire prevention and safety trailer for our fire prevention program out at the station. When we sought out bids or estimates for that trailer, it actually came in much lower than what we had received in the grant. And one of the things, the stipulations of the grant is if you have excess funding, you can apply to amend that grant to make other purchases. And so after doing some research on what other departments used the excess funding for, one of them was a new sign for a fire station with an electronic message board on it for an LED screen that you can display fire safety messages and other messages to the public and things like that. And so that's how we got to this point, and we ended up with a little over $33,000 in excess funding in that grant. And so I went out and sought out some quotes for these signs, and I have 3 of them there for your consideration. The one I'm recommending is from, I hope I don't say it wrong, it's Zendiver Signs and Graphics from the Peoria area. And part of the stipulation of that grant, like I said, is it has to have this LED screen to display fire prevention or safety messages to the public. And a certain percentage of our messages that we put on there have to be towards that. We can't just put any message we want. It has to be towards fire prevention and safety. It's like 75% of them. So we're happy to comply with that to get the word out to people about fire prevention and safety. But so this will be a 4-foot tall by 8-foot wide sign mounted out in front of Station 1, mounted perpendicular to Industrial Park Road, and so you'll be able to see it coming from both directions. And we'll be able to, and then the top half, the bottom 2 feet of it will be have an LED screen. The top half of 2 feet will have custom graphics on it, on the fire department, something like that. Does anybody have any questions about the sign or the installation of it? I might add that the power to the sign will actually, I'll have to bring that back to you. We weren't prepared to bring that to you yet tonight, but I wanted to get this on here so we can get the sign ordered. It does take quite a while to get it, and the price of the sign keeps going up every time I ask for a new quote on it, so I want to get it ordered as soon as I can. So, any questions about it?
Who is your other 2 besides this company?
There was
Oh, there it is.
Riverbend
was inexpensive, or what was your reasoning?
They had good reviews for their companies and their signs, and I felt that I wanted to stay somewhat local to our area. I actually did contact the Galesburg sign a couple times, and they did not get back to me with a quote. So those were the closest ones that I could find to us anyway.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. And I might add too that the grant funding will cover 95% of this project. So.
I would entertain a motion for approval of the low bid for the sign.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, a roll call, please.
Conard?
Yes.
Canino?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trombley?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes.
And Dahl.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Next we have Braden, discuss approval of an agreement for purchase of some radio read water meters, I believe.
Yeah, so I went out and collected a quote from our dealer for our water meters for residences, and the reason I did this was we're kind of presented with a unique opportunity here with our lead service line replacement program we've got going on. Phase 1 is supposed to begin here soon, and part of that phase 1, during that process of the line replacement, the meter itself will be removed from the home, and then as it stands currently, they will reinstall whatever meter is in the home presently. So my thought was, and the thought behind this purchase is, if we purchase these meters, Advanced Plumbing, who is our contractor for phase 1 of that project, will install these meters for free in the homes that need them during phase 1 of that project. So the only thing we will have to cover is the material of the meter itself, which I have attached a quote for that, which came out to approximately $60,930 for 225 meters. But again, the thought process behind this was to purchase these meters and have the labor be completely free to the city and have them installed where needed by Advanced Plumbing during this project.
I think we have some identified dead meters, and I think our crew is going to be able to install the ones that they came across that weren't.
Exactly. So the plan will be, during this phase 1 replacement, if we identify meters, which we're working on currently, there are quite a few. During this phase 1, Advanced Plumbing will install them at free of charge for us, just the cost of the meter. And then going forward, if we have problematic meters, which we've identified already, we'll be able to install those in-house outside of the lead service line program. So this is going to really help us get a leg forward in replacing some of these dated meters here in town, and kind of ensure that we're keeping a modern system.
And it should also increase revenue since the old meters are not.
That's correct.
Working properly.
Yes, so the older meters, as they get older, they actually, instead of reading higher or reading the same, as meters get older, they're designed to read lower. So there's a possibility that quite a few of those dated meters are reading much lower than the actual usage. So.
Any questions for Braden? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion for approval of the purchase of the new water meters, radio read water meters. And do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, a roll call, please.
Canino?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trombley?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes.
Dahl?
Yes.
Conard?
Yeah.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Next up, we have the architectural engineering agreement for the rehabilitation runway phase 1. And I'm sorry, excuse me. Yes, I did. Joe, do you want to discuss the approval of HVAC replacement at City Hall?
Yes, Mayor, Council. This winter, we had one of our furnaces go down with a bad heat exchanger. And these furnaces that we're talking about are above the entryway as you come into City Hall. And they were put in 2003. And over the past several years, we've spent money, $200 or $300 a pop on each one of the furnaces there to keep them running. And so I put out a scope of work to the local contractors, and we got 3 in, and it would be my recommendation to the council to accept the low bid for IHC in the amount of $13,525. And this is going to replace the furnace and air conditioner. Periodically through the last several years, we've had to add Freon to the air conditioning as well. So we've been spending roughly $1,000 a year to keep what we have running. So,
I think there was 2 units and you're replacing it with 1?
Yeah, so we're not losing any heat. We're losing 12,000 BTUs of air conditioning. Part of the reasoning for that when that unit was designed is if you lost one of the furnaces, you could still have some heat and or some air conditioning, depending on the season. With today's parts availabilities, it makes no sense to have 2 separate units up there at twice the maintenance. So the 1 furnace is going to cover what the 2 furnaces did cover, plus it's a higher efficiency than what was there, as well as the 1 condenser will pair well with 5 tons of air for this portion of the building. And this isn't the only system we have. We've got a package unit on this part. We've got a unit over in the kitchen that takes care of the back half of the building and part of upstairs. And then we've got another system that takes care of this hallway over here. And they're all aged equipment except for the one in the kitchen. We did have to replace that under an emergency situation earlier this winter. Any questions?
So the low bid was from,
IHC, Independent Heating and Cooling.
okay,
And again, it's a local contractor.
okay. Any questions from council? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion for approval of the low bid from Independent Heating and Cooling. I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Harry,
Yes.
Trustees,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
Doc,
Yes.
Hunter,
Yes.
Benito.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now, we have the architectural engineering agreement for the rehabilitation of the runway phase 1. And this is, addresses the apron area where the old hangar was, where the fire was, and this cleans that up and allows our ag flyers to use that area and levels it up and cleans up some problems in that concrete that was damaged by the fire. So they will be paving that area, and also they're doing some runway runoff work. Brian, do you have anything to add to that?
The FAA has certain gradients off the end of a runway that they want to see, and so they surveyed the north end of the airport and determined that if a plane ran off the end, the angle was too great going down. So what they want is to have the fill put in that area, so if someone were to overrun the runway, then they would have a better chance of survival.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is 97.5% grant, so our match is 2.5%. I defer to you, Lou.
This is a state controlled and a state-led program. It's been in our airport layout plan for a number of years now, and as the mayor mentioned, the project and the engineering are going to be funded by the state to the tune of 97.5%. So the city's total exposure in terms of cost regarding the engineering services agreement is less than $3,400. So, and it does accomplish some safety improvements that we need at the airport, so we would recommend council's approval. And Hanson is our airport engineer and have been for several years.
Council, have any questions? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion for approval of that engineering agreement.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, a roll call, please.
Trustees,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes. been involved in discussions with Prairie Hill and other local units of government throughout the 11-county area around us here about forming a collaborated authority that would allow us to join our resources to assist in terms of both legal and technical assistance in getting grants. We've used Prairie Hills in the past to obtain some assistance financially with brownfield grants that has allowed us to clean up a number of properties, particularly residential properties, that has resulted in the creation of some city-owned vacant lots. But there are also other properties that the city does not control that are blighted and are considered brownfield properties that we do not have access to or have the substantial liens. I know of one property on the south side of town that has well over $43,000 of liens against it, and the landowner, property owner is deceased. The next of kin has no responsibility to take care of it. So the city's been mowing it since at least 2013, in addition to these state of Illinois liens that are also against the property. And it's those kinds of properties where the Land Bank Authority can actually use their legal and technical expertise to help us address some of these properties. Also, with the existing vacant city lots, this authority would really give us an additional tool. In addition to the city going out and trying to market these lots to individual home builders, this would be a concerted regional effort to bring in home builders to look at vacant lots that are owned by municipalities or other governmental entities throughout the 11-county area to provide more cost efficiency in building new houses. So I think it gives us another tool in our tool belt to help address some of the residential infill priorities and goals that we have established to try to bring in new residential development into the community. I do know that there have been 4 other municipalities that have already joined the authority. We also know that there are 4 other local units of government, including Galesburg and Warren County, that have at least expressed interest in considering joining the land bank. Again, we are not looking at donating any of our city-owned vacant lots to the authority, but rather they are available that should they be able to bring in a developer or a home builder that is interested. Those are just like the properties where the city's efforts to try to attract a home builder to build on them. But we would bring those projects to you individually on a case-by-case basis, on a lot-by-lot basis. So final decisions on redeveloping some of these vacant lots or brownfield properties would come back to the council as a single project review and approval process. So our membership would cost about $25,000 a year to be a part of it. I think it's a good investment to help build our ability. Like I said, we've had a priority for a number of years to try to infill some of these old vacant lots that we have for new residential housing. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
How many properties would you have to sell a year to make up that $25,000?
Well,
how many vacant lots would you have to sell a year to make up that $25,000?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily look at it in quite those terms, Kevin. I think you're spending money currently with staff time doing the marketing to try to talk to home builders and show them sites and what have you. We do not have the staff ability. For example, we'd have to contract out to do any environmental studies or brownfield studies on properties. I know that we've spent a number of dollars with consulting firms before we can tear down the house, for example. So, I think it's difficult to say that the $25,000 being divided by the number of properties being sold is really not, I would consider an accurate cost. If you look at the property we sold tonight, let's say it was 1,500, I mean, it would take probably, what, 15, 16 lots to be sold per year? We don't have that many lots, so.
How many do we have?
Well, we've identified about 12 lots that we currently have that are vacant, that are available for redevelopment. We've got a number of other lots that still have work to be done. We have lots, like I've described, that the city has absolutely no control over, and yet we're still mowing the grass on private property. We're putting liens against that property that we know will never collect, and it helps us address some of these other lots or vacant houses that have been abandoned, that we have no funds available to demolish. I think the consortium, the authority, helps give us additional staff resources to go out and identify other alternative ways to approach cleaning up brownfields, demolishing abandoned or dilapidated homes, or helping us market available lots to home builders for redevelopment.
So why don't we have any control? You keep saying we're putting liens on these properties, why can't, if we're putting liens on it, if there's nobody there, like one property, somebody is deceased, we have an attorney, why can't we, if there's nobody there, why don't we have any control? I mean, what can we do with this property?
We don't have the legal means to do that. I think that's part of the resources.
But they do?
That is part of their strategy, is to provide legal assistance to the municipal members of the authority to help us through that. We do put liens on homes. We have our city attorney take them to the judge, and in many times we don't even get, the homeowner or the property owner is sometimes just granted more time to clean it up or what have you. But when you have these lots that have absolutely where the owner's dead, and there's really no one there, there's no mortgage, so there's no bank involved. These are extremely difficult lots for us to get our arms around, let alone try to control them, and we don't have the funds to go out there and buy these lots.
And I know there's, Markham can speak to it better. I know the one we ran into today had a lien from the state of Illinois for $40,000. I know it was subject to back taxes. Those are not things we're going to clean up. This group has the legal team that can go through and work through that process. They do it. They do this legal work for, I think, 12 other land banks in Illinois, and I don't know, Markham can clarify any of those.
If we have a lien, we can foreclose a lien. The foreclosure process takes 7 to 12 months, and with the publication costs, you're looking at $4,000 to $5,000 per lot. We've always taken the position that expense exceeds what we would get in return, and it's not worth it. Why spend $5,000 to get $1,500 for a lot?
But then if the lot's not empty, it goes back on the tax roll and somebody's paying taxes on it. So it's not sitting there empty anymore.
What often happens is that these properties don't even get their taxes sold to tax buyers, and then they become sold at a scavenger sale to the Warren County Treasurer's Office, and the Warren County trustee ends up selling them, and then you'll see them every 3 or 4 years. There's a minimum bidding process for those. That's how the city's acquired several of these lots, because it's cheaper to wait and do it that way than the foreclosure way.
So if we're in this bank and we end up getting some property that needs a place tore down or something like that, we still put the bill, correct? We're still paying that bill.
Well, typically what we've been doing when you say if we demolish property, we've been fortunate to get several $100,000 in grant monies to tear down properties.
We don't have the ability to tear down buildings we don't have the funds, so we have to rely on grants to actually accomplish that. So most everything that we demolish is with the use of grant funds.
Before I do anything with this, I'd like to talk to somebody from this foundation. Not that is, why isn't somebody here?
They had a conflict this evening.
Where are the other, you said 4 other, an 11 county area, and you said 4
Yeah,
others?
Again, we're still very early in the process, so there's the 4 municipalities are Carthage, Canton, Macomb, and Dallas City. And I've been informed that the city of Galesburg, Lewistown, as well as Warren County and McDonough County are considering it.
I know, speaking with the city manager of Galesburg, I believe they're moving forward. They found value, and I know in talking with Macomb, I think mayor, that I think McDonough County was also moving forward, but that I can't obviously speak for all.
I talked to somebody on the county board here, and it didn't sound very favorable from this person I was talking to about this, because the person was there talking with them and couldn't answer a lot of the questions that they had. That's why I would like to talk to somebody that's in this before.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, as far as like $25,000 a year, and as you said, I mean, obviously we can't do like, yeah, we do 3 properties, we make our money back. It's not, the math's not that way. You're trying to get it so you get things back on the tax roll,
Right.
and it's a long-term investment, but there's a long time before I feel like you're gonna see a return that's gonna make up, I mean, 4 years down the road, we're $100,000 in, I mean, that, we talked about we don't have enough money to pay $5,000 to foreclose on a house, but we want to spend $25,000 on a hope that we get, and there's no guarantee, right? That anybody will come in and buy these properties. I mean, it's just, it seems like a little bit of a
I think the resources they bring, the brownfield grant, and then also the possibility of other housing improvement or housing grants.
What's the brownfield grant?
I would like to know what brownfield means too.
We use the brownfield grant to clean up the Maple City Dairy property.
Is that a foundation?
It's an
brownfield?
EPA, no, brownfield is an EPA term.
Oh, okay.
For blighted ground.
I see, okay.
We use that brownfields to do a couple of properties in town.
So we've used it before, not
Yes.
as part of this. So
We've done it to remove, in the past, to remove old buried gasoline tanks. We've done it to remove asbestos from homes.
So brownfield just refers to a contaminated
Contaminated.
It's an EPA contaminated site.
Okay, thank
And
you.
part of this land bank is, again, other resources when they have them. They don't always have them through Prairie Hills. They don't always get it through Prairie Hills. It comes through, sometimes comes through this land bank.
You said that this land bank is particularly rather new, it sounds like, right? I mean,
Yeah, they're starting it up. There's 12 other land banks in Illinois. They're beginning it in this west central Illinois region, 11 counties.
I just don't know if I'm comfortable.
I think I'm with John on this as far as, I'd like to invite somebody from this company to talk to us.
they're wanting us to join this, but they have a prior engagement, and this is the first time I've heard about it when it's on the paper. It's the first time I've heard. I didn't hear about this. I heard about this from somebody who was on the county board that told me about it before I even got here on this, and I read it.
Yeah, I've had a couple of articles in the Weekly Administrative Report on this, but, just to kind of give you some conceptual information on the land bank authority, but we can do that.
We can bring it back and have them discuss this with council.
Thank you.
Moving on. I believe under ordinances, we have a first reading, Casey, for declaration of some Monmouth Fire Department surplus property.
Yes, Mayor, the one thing on there is for us, the other thing is a bookshelf. I think
that's a city hall property.
Yeah, I think it's city hall. But the surplus property from the fire department is an old aerofill station. It used to be mounted on a truck, and what it is just basically a tank that you put the SCBA bottle or air bottles into when you're filling them, just in case it's a safety precaution. In case that air bottle should happen to rupture during the fill process, nobody's injured by that. And so we took this. It used to be mounted on our engine 21.
here not too long ago. We took it off to make room to add equipment on the engine, and it's been sitting ever since. And amongst the guys, we've kind of talked about it at the station, and we don't feel that it's needed on the truck any longer. And so we thought somebody else could make better use of it than we can, having to sit on our truck for it. So.
You have another place you're filling bottles?
Yes, we have a newer Cascade and another fill station that we got in a grant about 10 years ago. That we have that on our truck for Station 1. That's where we always fill the bottles. This was mounted on the truck just to fill bottles while you were at an incident, and if you needed to just fill a couple. But we do have plenty of air bottles on our trucks that we are able to just use those and take them back to the station after the fire or whatever it is and fill them up.
Any other questions?
And then the bookcases in there has no shelves in it. It's too tall to use without balance of shelves, and it needs to just go away.
Well, bookshelf without shelves isn't really a bookshelf, is it? It's not even a book.
No books, no shelves.
I would entertain a motion for approval of declaration of surplus property.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, a roll call, please.
Don,
Yes.
Connor,
Yes.
Pinero,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
and Pete.
Yes.
Grant. Motion carried.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion for Illinois statute to go into executive session to discuss collective bargaining and also employment and compensation of the specific individual with possible action to follow after.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, a roll call, please.
Don,
Yes.
Connor,
Yes.
Pinero,
Yes.